My neighbor's outside. I don't want him to see me filming. It's so awkward. It's so awkward to see people filming. Okay, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and today I'm going to show you 3 techniques for how you can easily and simply hand paint wallpaper designs just like this one in your apartment today. I personally love the look of wallpaper. I think it is super fun and an interesting way to add personality and flair to any apartment. The price of wallpaper tends to be very expensive, especially if you want to do a whole room. To YouTube and Pinterest, I went looking for techniques on how I could kind of paint my own wallpaper designs as a very non-artistic person. I am going to show you 3 techniques for hand painting your own faux wallpaper design with very minimal supplies. So let's just jump right into it. The first technique that I have is an alternating brush stroke wall. Brush stroke, brush stroke. That's not a very easy word to say. The first technique that I have is an alternating brush stroke technique. I did this technique on a small wall in my entryway in kind of a burnt orange color that corresponded with some of the other colors that I had in my entryway. I did this wall before I started filming for YouTube, so the only clip that I have of me actually painting this wall is from Instagram, so I'll put that on the screen here. But essentially I started from the bottom of the wall and worked my way up in horizontal lines. And I just alternated the direction of my brush stroke. I just used kind of the fat side of the brush and brushed down, turned my wrist, made a vertical line, and then dipped it back in the paint. I dipped it in the paint after every other brush stroke. So I do a wide and then a thin and then dip in the paint and do it again. So I went across the wall, alternating between this wide, thin, all the way across. And then I moved up a row and did the same thing back the other way. I also alternated my brush strokes from like a downward stroke and an upward stroke at random. This kind of adds to the sort of rustic feel of the wall and just makes it a little bit less uniform. I love the overall rustic look of it. It's definitely not super uniform. You can tell it's hand done, and I think that really adds to the charm of it. One thing that I would have done differently if I were to go back and do this project again is to tape off some horizontal lines on the wall. This would have made sure that my spacing was a little bit more even and I didn't have certain ones that are a lot longer or shorter than others. For my second hand-painted faux wallpaper design, I used circular doppers to create a polka dot pattern. I used 3 different sizes of foam doppers. I found these at a craft shop. They're pretty widely available. It's basically just like a painting sponge in a circular shape with a little rod through it so you can easily press it against the wall. I think these doppers cost me like $3.99, so not a super expensive project. And again, you can use leftover paint or another color that you already have. With the doppers, I definitely recommend doing a few kind of test presses on a piece of paper so that you know the right amount of pressure that you need and the right amount of paint that you have. This way you're gonna avoid any drips or kind of inconsistent circles. I would recommend starting with the largest dopper first. Fill your entire wall with however many of those that you want. Then go back with the medium-sized dopper, fill in some more, and then the smallest size dopper again. I found it worked best when I dipped my dopper in paint each time that I pressed it on the wall. I would always kind of scrape off excess paint so I didn't have too much and it didn't create any drip sizes, but I think it just worked a little bit better. I also moved my wrist in kind of a circular way as I had it pressed up against the wall to really ensure that nice, clean, circular shape. The first time around that I did this painting technique in my bedroom, I didn't fill the wall enough and it looked a little bit too much like a kid's nursery. You'll see my initial response right here. So when I finished painting these circles the other day, I really liked it. And I slept on it for a few days and there was just like something about it that I didn't like. I think it felt a little too much like a nursery. Like the circles are a little too perfect, they're a little too spaced apart. So I'm gonna go back and add some more and make the pattern a little bit more busy. And hopefully that gives it a little bit more modern feel and less of like a little child's bedroom. After After going back and filling in my polka dot pattern even more so that it was very busy and there was not so much white space, I'm really happy with the way that this Diaper technique turned out. I think in total it took me about 6 hours. So this technique is definitely the longest. It's because you have to re-dip the Diapers every time and go in, and it's a lot of manual work, but I'm very happy with the overall impression it gives. My third technique for faux painting wallpaper in your home is Chevron Stripes. Chevron Stripes are a super classic design. They were really big a few years ago and I'm not quite over it. The Chevron Stripes require the most amount of prep work and precision, but overall it's still a pretty simple project to do the wall in my dining room. I think it took me about 2 hours from start to finish. I started my chevron wall by taping vertical lines onto the wall so I would know exactly where I needed my chevron stripes to go. I did this because we don't have a laser level. If you have a laser level, this would go a lot faster. To tape the vertical lines, I marked a pencil mark on the top and the bottom every 40 centimeters. Then my husband got up on the ladder, put the tape at the top mark, and I connected it down to the bottom mark to get them as vertical as we could without a laser level. I wanted my chevron lines to alternate between like pointing up or pointing down. So I started in the corner of my wall and worked outwards, alternating the design with each one. In my case, I just freehand painted my chevron stripes, kind of just alternating each side, making the point of the triangle in the center of the tape all the way up. If you really wanted your chevrons to be quite uniform and all at the same angle, you could easily just cut a piece of cardboard or like use a corner of a cardboard and then, just mark on it how far you want each of them to go. And then you just use that almost as like a guide all the way up and then coming down. Once your coat of paint is done, you can just peel that tape right away and there you go, you've got your vertical chevron stripes. I think painting your own faux wallpaper is a fun and easy way to express your personality in your apartment on a budget. It's super renter friendly. You can use paint that you already have, you can use brushes that you already have, and you can really just transform a wall in a few short hours. Those are my 3 techniques for hand painting your own faux wallpaper at home. Tell me in the comments below which one is your favorite. I'm so curious what other people think. So are you curious which one is my favorite? I think my favorite is probably the brush stroke technique because I love the kind of rustic feel to it. It has a lot of like texture. The color is very on trend right now and it just feels very like natural and handmade, which is definitely a big design trend in 2021. So yeah, the first one is probably my favorite. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. I've got lots more ideas coming. It would mean so much to me. I am trying to grow here on YouTube, so please join me in the process as I transform my apartment with paint on every wall. Lockdown life. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see how you transform your own space with faux wallpaper techniques like these. Thank you so much. Bye.